allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of prayer. Thank you.
Alderman Wadawa.
Here.
Alderwoman Calderon.
Here.
Alderman Brickner.
Here.
Alderman Fire.
Here.
Alderman Damon.
Here.
Alderwoman Fliss.
Here.
The meeting has also been properly posted and noticed.
Public hearings? None. Presentation. Resolution of commendation for service for the City of St. Francis, Captain Peter Trust. Front and center, please.
Evening.
Called to the front of the room now. I said, get called to the front of the room.
First of all, before anything, you're going to be missed.
Amen.
A little something from the common council for your wife. It's not yours. City of St. Francis, resolution of commendation for service to the City of St. Francis conferred on Peter Trost. At a regular meeting of the common council of the City of St. Francis, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, held on the 19th day of October 21st, October 2020, a quorum being present and a majority of the common council voting, therefore said council does resolve as follows. Whereas Peter Trost is a St. Francis High School graduate and lifelong St. Francis citizen, and whereas Peter Trost was hired as a paid on-call firefighter on May 8th, 1992, and whereas Peter Trost was hired as a full-time firefighter on May 28th, 1999, and whereas Peter Trost was promoted to heavy equipment operator on June 2nd, 2000, and whereas Peter Trost was promoted to lieutenant on March 24th, 2006, and whereas Peter Trost was promoted to captain on October 5th, 2007, and whereas Peter Trost served as St. Francis Professional Firefighters Local 2717 Secretary Treasurer, and whereas Peter Trost was a lead fire and arson investigator for numerous notorious fires in the City of St. Francis. Whereas Peter Trost, after exemplary service, retired on October 15th, 2021. That is awesome. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of St. Francis, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, on behalf of all its residents and the City of St. Francis, thereby highly commends Peter Frost for more than 30 years available service with the City of St. Francis. Be it further resolved that the best wishes for health, happiness, success are hereby tendered to Peter Trust in all future endeavors. Passed and approved this 19th day of October 2021.
Now the fun starts. So, Pete, as you heard, started as full-time St. Francis firefighter in 1999, and I was fortunate enough to come on board with the fire department in 2000. And Pete's been such a role model for every single person that's been hired alongside him, before him, and especially after him. When Pete met me, I remember meeting him in that spring of 2000, and we were going for training fire. I asked some questions, and I was assigned to the ambulance with him, and things went well. And he kind of, I could sense he was feeling me out, and I don't blame him. But a couple of questions, we talked a little bit, and I had a lot of respect for him because he treated me like a brother. I was young at the time, and he's been a mentor for all of us. He's still young. He's been a mentor. He's been family. Pete is inside our brother and sisterhood is very pinning his socks together. But number two, he takes those same organizational skills, and he's known for knowing everyone's and our spouse's birthdays and our anniversaries. And we'll wake up on our wedding anniversary, and we'll have a message from Pete or a phone call from him. He is truly a family man inside our firehouse, inside his own house, within his family. Nothing but good to say about him. He has rolled probably with so many punches since working under me as a chief, and he's been such a good moral compass. And if Pete asks you a question or questions something, it really makes you think about, you know what, maybe I should rethink this or look at it from a different approach or something like that. He's going to be sorely missed. It's been such a great experience. So Pete, like you heard in the resolution, going on nearly 30 years of service with the City of St. Francis Fire Department. Now, Pete was also known for another thing. It's that his locker, including the paired socks, was also like the wall drug, the Osco, the Walgreens of over-the-counters and remedies and concoctions. And it was only, it was funny because, as you know, we were going to have a little get-together for Pete, and it was only fitting that Pete was sick on his last day of life. No, with all joking aside, he wasn't able to be here for his send-off for his last day, and we'll get to the off-duty stuff at a later date because we let him go on his vacation and he's settling in. But what we did was we got passed around a card, as is normally done in the city, from all of your coworkers, and it's in rough shape because it's made the tour around this building, around this property. One thing, we wanted to present this to Pete, and this is from all his brothers, all of us at the fire department, for all of his dedication, and you'll see on this very plaque the timeline of Pete's career and some pinnacle areas of responsibility that Pete undertook and that he excelled at. So we have a presentation. We have this plaque for Captain Peter Trolls. So go through real quick, and we'll get this. 1992 through 2021 with the St. Francis Fire Department. Instrumental in the Fire Inspection Bureau. He has paid on call through his firefighter, through his MPO, through his lieutenant, captain, the fire investigation team, and then his service to the local 2017, the firefighters union, including secretary and treasurer. So, yep. So, congratulations. Thank you. And now it's time for your speech.
And we gave you 20 minutes a lot of time.
I'm short on talking, but I appreciate everything very much. It's been my honor, really, to be involved with this organization and this city, so, been my honor.
Just hand it to the wife. She'll take care of it.
I reflect back on it, there's so many people that were instrumental in my career and my time here and stuff, and I wanna just thank them all. But it's been a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and I'm gonna miss that part of the job. But I appreciate everything, and thank you very much. Retirement's great, Pete.
That was cute.
I'm not
Budget cuts, we need you to start at 7 a.m. tomorrow?
That would be cute.
I could see him doing that. I could.
2-minute recess.
Peter? Well earned. Well earned. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Anyone else want to say anything?
Mayor, do you want to recess?
Pardon?
Do you want to recess before you continue, if they want to leave?
No, we're going to go on to the presentation for Campbell. Oh, I know what you're saying. Yes. Yes.
You may
It
not
took a
wanna
second.
sit
We're
through
going to take a
the
2-minute recess just to have family and friends say thank you to
Thank you.
Pete.
Took a second. Oh, wait, I got it.
Thank you.
I'm picking it up now. I forgot about this part of it. What are all these, oh, yeah. There's no public forum tonight, or public hearing. How you been, Mike? Good.
Don't worry about Alex.
Me neither.
Not quite that good, but good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you ready for this, though? Him being home all the time? Yeah. Good, good.
She's already got the honey-do list.
No, I don't never make a list.
Just tell him.
He knows what he gets done, he gets done. If he doesn't,
Gotcha.
Nice. Did you get it to work?
Through Firefox, it
Yeah.
works, yeah.
All right, calling us back into session.
Matt didn't get it.
I didn't either.
We're going to go to presentation
No, it's me.
of preliminary concept review, Campbell Development, 3700 South Lake Drive.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Michael Campbell, and it's Campbell Capital Group. And I think everybody knows me, but I developed 4200 on the lake. And I guess before I get started tonight on this new development, I just want to publicly say how nice it's been to work with St. Francis as a city. It's probably the most professional city I've worked in. It's been, and my consultants say the same thing, by the way. They all speak very highly of their experience in St. Francis. So we're all excited about coming back and hopefully doing this again. So just wanted to get on the record with that. It's been great, a great experience.
Thank you.
Okay, so so I'm back again. I have I thought what I would do is kind of talk about what I'm planning to do, and then I'll go over to the board and we'll get into more details. But I have on 3700 South Lake Drive, which is the property south of the FBI headquarters, east of South Lake Drive, north of Park Shore Condos, and west of Lake Michigan, is approximately 21 acres I have under contract, which is made up of approximately 3 lots. And of that 21 acres, there's only about 8 acres that is buildable or usable. There's a lot of reasons why we can't build on the rest of it, but the plan is that we're going to basically do 2 phases of apartments. The first phase, we're calling for 285 units, and the second is going to be 200 units. We are going to do something very similar to 4200 on the lake in terms of quality and look. It won't be exactly the same, but it'll be very similar. on what we've done there. We, this site actually has better views of the city, so we spent a lot of time with our views looking as best we can going east and north. So we think this will even, these views might even be better than what 4200 on the lake is. It's that good. So we're very excited about this site, but this site has a lot of challenges. If I don't know if everybody knows the background of this site, but We Energies had their power plant on this site, and they buried it in Lot 3. And so basically, we have about 4.5 acres that the DNR is closed, and we cannot do anything on that site. We have to go through a process to get us to park. We can park on it, we believe. We'll be able to park on it. And we're thinking also of basically doing a food park, or a food truck park on that area. But that's, at the moment, just a concept. So what we're planning to do is the first phase is going to be 285 units. And the topo is a little different than 4200. So the podium on this particular development will actually be above ground. So, and we're going to do some 5-story, some 4-story. And so the way it is, we'll have 5-story buildings, we'll have 4-story buildings, and then we'll have 2-story with the amenities. So it'll be good because the building is broke up nice in terms of its elevation, and that'll be good. And then the same thing in phase number 2. We'll have 5 and 4 levels of height. We're going to have some really big courtyards. We'll have 2 courtyards in phase 1, one with a pool, big area courtyard, and then we'll have another area that's just a courtyard with fire pits and a lot of things. I'll talk about that more when I move over to the board. We also have to deal with this site is something called the sewer pack, which basically there's about a 200-foot setback from the bluff area. So that's another reason why we can't build on a lot of it. We're going to do a little private park east of the buildings, which will look nice because it'll be a lot of green grass. So what you're not seeing on the board, and I'll explain better, but basically we have a podium underneath of covered parking, and then we have surface parking. The other thing on this building that at the moment we're planning in phase 1 is 8,000 square feet of commercial/retail in phase 1, and then we're at the moment we have planned 4,000 square feet of commercial/retail in phase 2, which is different than 4,200 on that we didn't have any. So the other thing, because we can't build on this 4.5 acres, it presents a very nice view of the lake for the triangle across the street that the city now owns. So that's a big plus also. It just works out that way. It's directly across, so and the community will be able to see that. The other thing that's the trail comes up on the south end of the property. It comes north and then it turns east on the south end of this property, and then it heads north on the front of our property. So that's kind of nice too, that we're going to have everybody walking by the property and the commercial and retail. And that's a big plus. So the amenities will include a leasing office, state-of-the-art fitness room. A little bit different this time. We're going to do a sky lounge, which basically on the top floor, on the very east part of the building, we'll do an area that residents can go up there and like a little party room area that they can spend time in, but just great views of the lake and things like that. We're planning to do that on both phases. We've done that on other developments, and the residents love that. We'll do bike storage, the mail package rooms. We'll have professional on-site management. We have enough parking. We've designed it in a way that we have enough parking, and the nice thing is we have some surface parking and some covered parking, which is a good mix because some people can't afford the underground parking or don't want it. And again, we've spent a lot of time on both phases of really trying to emulate what we did at 4200 in terms of the courtyards and the views that the residents have toward the lake, which we think is what makes 4200 really special, obviously, are those views in the courtyards to the lake. So I'll go over to the board and we can point some more things out, and then maybe we can have questions if you have any.
Linda, can you provide him with the microphone?
Mike, you need a microphone? It's behind you.
Not yet.
Nope.
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 Batteries in it?
Give it a second here.
Get the backup. Perhaps a number. A musical number.
That one works.
Thanks, Chief.
Hello?
Yeah, there. No,
Nope,
it's,
now it's off.
Hello?
Yeah,
Okay.
now it works.
That works. Gonna start singing pretty soon. So basically, this is about 21 acres. It's lot 1, 2, and 3. Lot 3 is the area that we're not allowed to build on. And so we've designed surface parking. I guess I just did that. Did I do that?
Yep.
How do I go back to where we were? Okay,
Mark will help you.
yeah. I just want where we were. But we gotta go to the other,
And then
The
the
other
previous
page.
slide.
if it's such a smart board, why doesn't it know what he wants to do?
yeah, okay. Well, the smart board, you need to be smart to do it. That's the problem.
Try not to touch it.
Yeah, I won't touch it, okay. So, basically what we have is, designed a food truck park at the moment, and the surface parking here. This is, phase 1 here. So we have an amenity area there, a courtyard, and this is a courtyard, and this is a courtyard with the pool. This is 2-story, this is 5-story, this is 4-story. This is where we have at the moment the commercial and the retail right here. They'll have very convenient parking. They'll have drive-by and views of the water looking that way. So that's why we put it there. But this provides a nice view for the community and for the triangle. We've got the different levels, the 5, the 4, and the 2. So that breaks up the building really nice. Same thing over here, 2, 4, and then 5. So I think because we're doing so much, it's important we have those different levels of height. It's really going to be similar to 4200 in the lake. So if you've seen that, it's going to be the same kind of quality. I don't know how many of you have gone in it and seen the units, but we're very happy with our leasing and how we've done. We're planning on phase 1, hopefully that we get started the middle of the summer is what we're hoping for. We could start construction on phase 1. Phase 2, when we get started, will just depend on how well leasing goes on phase 1 when we start phase 2. This area here is, again, has to do with requirements by Sewer PAC that we have to go along with and follow a lot of their requirements. This site is different topo-wise. We had, there's 3 entrances onto the site, and we're not using the middle one because of the topo issues we have when you get into the site and the way it works and how we're grading it. At the moment, we have an entrance in the garage back here on phase 1, and we have it over here on phase 2. We can play with that a little bit. We just can't move it too far this way because of grading issues we have. I mean, this is a very complicated site with the environmental issues and sewer pack issues and all those kind of things that we're having to deal with. we're still finishing up our due diligence on this site, but we're very excited about it and anxious to get going. So I think that covers a lot of it. If I'm sure I'm leaving some things out, but if anyone has any questions.
What's, like, how many bedrooms do you expect the residential portion to have on average?
Well, we're gonna have 285 units, and we're gonna have one and two bedrooms, and we'll have a mix of different kinds of ones and twos.
Mhm.
We'll probably have units with some dens in this development.
And it'll probably bias more towards the one bedroom size with a 750 square foot average.
Yeah, that's why it's at that number, because of we'll have more ones. The ones just do much better than the twos. There's a lot more demand for ones.
And from an amenities standpoint, you're, what will the fit and finish of the residential portion kind of look like? Are you thinking, is it, granite countertops? And,
Yeah, it's similar to what we did on 4200.
Okay.
Yeah, same quality.
I noticed you have the commercial below on this front corner on the Lake Drive side.
What that means only is, so picture this on the site. There's a level of podium parking. That's where the retail is. So when it says below, it means it's below the apartments.
Correct. Is there a reason why that couldn't be moved, like if you wanted to have it towards the back, on that back section towards the lake?
Well, again, the issue is drive-by. I mean, commercial and retail typically need drive-by to work. One of the things that we're going to do, and I've talked to Mark about this a lot, is that once the development is announced and we get going and we can get out into the market and start talking to people, we'll get a feel for how big the demand is for space and the kind of people that, retailers or commercial people that want to come. You don't really know till you start out there and talking to people. But we thought, again, go on the theory here. You have, for commercial and retail, you need good parking, which we have here. You need to be able to see it, which people can driving north. This will have good views still of the water. So we've got the three elements there, right? They can see the water. You got to have very convenient parking, and you got to be able to see it to drive through. And if you don't have those, it's pretty tough for a retail person to make it.
If we're thinking about that 8,000 square foot commercial space as a restaurant, would there be any ability to, use that building one courtyard area as outdoor dining or something on that order? Have you considered that?
No, that would not work, because that's now you're getting into our private residence area, and from a security point of view, we would not want the public being able to get in there. But don't forget, we haven't designed this food park area, but we could make this feel really good out here. I mean,
The other thing, Mr. Campbell, is if you put that business residential down further in the residential, now you're competing with people's residential parking, their residential access. You've got a lot more traffic interfering with the people who actually live there, which I think is why you also have them at the front corners. Visibility, and it also keeps them away from the rest of the residents.
yeah, that's true. But they're going to be parking near each other, but we'll have to have spots just dedicated for retail and commercial, because otherwise it doesn't work that way either for those guys.
Well, I know we had talked about making this a destination site. It seems we had a lot of conversations about that, and I'm just kind of curious as to the destination site part of this. with that retail there, what are you considering? You know, I guess I was thinking something totally different than what's being proposed. I don't see much of a destination site there. Unless you actually live on the property, then maybe you would consider it a destination, but commercial part of it, what are you looking at, or what are you considering over there?
You know, I really, I think it's gonna be, again, I don't know about restaurants, you know, because it's one of those things that obviously everybody would like to have a restaurant that works, but I don't know if we'll get one interested or not. I mean, but I think, you know, a yoga studio, workout studios would work, a pet grooming place. I think insurance people would be interested in this. We've talked to leasing people about it, and they don't. There's nothing specific that they really say. I mean, it's.
I mean, I guess that's not what I had envisioned on the Lake Drive, you know, insurance office or a pet grooming place, you know, I guess I thought we were looking at more of a destination, some place where people wanted to come to St. Francis for that specific. Obviously, the views that are gonna be there are gonna be incredible, and that's what we had talked about, and I'm just not, I guess I'm not getting that feel.
I think that was before the limitations of the site were discovered.
Go ahead, Mark.
I might be able to help with this because we've had a number of discussions on the retail. We actually had a conference call or a Zoom meeting with Founders 3, representative from Founders 3, which is a premier real estate company that deals with trying to locate retail in the general Milwaukee area. We're running into the same issues that I think St. Francis has run into for eons, and that's that fish don't buy anything. Analogy is that you draw a circle around this site, and it's half the site is over water, so that the population is an issue. I think that one of the things I will say is based on the negotiations we have, Mike is still committed to retail at this site. And so he has not varied from his commitment to place retail in the site, even though he realizes as a developer that it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge to get a Buffalo Wild Wings or an Applebee's or any chain type restaurant or that type of business at this location because of that fish don't buy and that data. So I think Mike and I will work once now that it's announced. Mike and I will work on seeing what is out there in the community because there is a lot of retail and commercial as you go into Bayview that is successful, or you go down Packard into Cudahy that is successful. So that I think you have to look at the mix of retail that's in those areas currently to try and determine what we can try and recruit for this location. I think everybody would like to see, we've talked to Sendex to Go. We've talked to, a lot of different retailers, and we're hearing a similar response from most of them. The mayor has sat in on some of those discussions, and so this is a preliminary concept review process. This is the first step in the PUD process. It's going to be a few months now that it's been announced. I think we can start talking with, the developer can start talking with, and we can start talking with retailers in this area and see what interest there would be. I still have belief that a restaurant overlooking the lake could be very viable. There's only a couple restaurants in total Milwaukee area that have views of the lake. So I think it has great potential if we can get the right retailer, the right restaurant person, entrepreneur to look at this site differently. Mike is looking at it from the perspective of he wants a long-term tenant. He wants somebody that's going to pay their rent, and he doesn't want to see turnover. And I don't think we want to see that either. We don't want to see vacant space with for lease signs in the front windows. So that's one of the reasons why maybe he's pared down the retail to those primary corners based on his discussions with retail specialists, both here in the Milwaukee area, plus from his experience in Atlanta. So I think we're going to do the best we can. I think it is going to set the stage for the Triangle property, though, with the additional population that's here. It will make the Triangle property more viable for maybe some of the retail that we are looking for. Once that,
And I mean, I could see that type of retail in the Triangle area. I just don't see that on that side.
right. So I think what Mike is saying is that maybe the destination retail is going to be more viable on the Triangle site, and the more small business type retail is going to be viable in this site, because you're going to have a direct population that can be served by that small business retail on this site.
I just think the residents have been looking at that site. I've had a few calls too. I mean, and I think they are thinking more, restaurant. I've had people talk about that before, and because of the view of the lake. The Triangle, probably with this type of thing, I mean, it's beautiful, but it would probably block most of the views of the lake if you're in the Triangle at the time. So I think if we can really convince someone to come in as a restaurant, that's what is really needed.
So-
I think that's what the residents want.
I pulled up a map before the meeting just to take a look, and actually, I believe with that Lot 3 open, that actually leaves the 2/3 of the Triangle open to views of the lake.
Okay.
So I think that's really important as well, because we would hate to kind of rob Peter to pay Paul, on lake views. But it's working. Yeah, I think it'll do okay in terms of views. I've always thought that getting residential, certainly the commercial is important. I think we can prove that it's, if we can prove it's viable from a commercial standpoint, even for a couple of, medium-sized spaces, I think that really helps the story of the Triangle. And then obviously having, 285 so 485 more units, with the number of people that would come with, will make the Triangle far more viable as well.
Mr. Campbell, is it fair to assume or presume that when you bought this property, you didn't think 60% of it would be non-developable?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't know the history of the property, so, yeah, I mean, that's obviously
Because that'll hinder your.
we're learning, as you go through your due diligence and you learn about the site. I didn't know, I mean, I still have it under contract. I haven't closed on it yet, so, we won't close on it till next year after we get through the entitlement process. So, but I think, Mark and I have had many discussions. Mark is very, very positive about, the commercial retail. I'm in the business of building apartments, and I see not just in Atlanta and Dallas and Nashville and Tampa and Milwaukee, there's lots of vacant retail and commercial space all over in the apartments. And when you talk to Founders 3, they're not as positive as I'd like them to be, but Mark is, and I'm told him I'm committed to try as hard as we can, and we're gonna try to do what we can. But part of it is they look at the numbers. That's these retailers. They look at the number of people, they look at household income, and and I think St. Francis is getting younger and changing a little bit, but not that it's okay to be older, because I'm older. I mean, so, but I think it's just obviously the apartments more apartments are going to help with all this, right? I mean, and I get it, because I drive looking for a place to eat, and there's not a lot of convenient places. So I get why you want it. I get it. Believe me. But we have the same interest. I mean, to do, right? I mean, we want a successful development, but I just can't I can't promise. We can just try, for that. And unfortunately, with COVID right now, you know, the restaurant business, right? I mean, everybody goes out to eat and places aren't open, or they, you know, they don't have enough people to work. So, you know, it's not the ideal time. But
I appreciate you kind of working with Founders 3 and with Mark, you know, and keeping the commercial component to this. Personally, I think that it will be successful there, but it's really hard to predict it. To me, it feels like it'll happen. But in terms of like a market study proving that out, I think it'd be very difficult for somebody to say that, you know, from a future prediction
and that's
standpoint.
basically that's right. That's correct. But Mark assures me.
Build it and they will come.
Oh, and Mr. Campbell, if we learned anything with 4,200 on the lake, it's that you do work with us and you do hear what they bring you to committee in planning, and you did adjust your last development. So if something did really pop up as a winner, as an opportunity, I don't see you as a person that would necessarily turn that away. You'd be amenable to
No,
working
that's
on
the
it.
thing.
Right.
We went the same thing you guys want. I mean, we want this to be better than 42 on the lake, and we think 42 on the lake is great. I mean,
Excellent,
it's let me tell you, it's very great experience. I mean, I hope everybody else likes it too, but I mean, we're very happy with
Yeah.
how it turned out. So we want this to be as good, if not better.
Well, and I appreciate you flying in to present in person.
Oh.
When everybody's Zooming and doing remote
Oh, no.
meetings, it's
No. No, wanted to come up here in front of you guys. So, any other questions?
I would just like to say, Mike, thank you for everything you've done in the city so far. It's been excellent. And I know I'm excited to have the next phase happen. So just on behalf of the city, thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
So it's under discussion items with possible action to refer it to the planning commission later in the agenda.
Do you want to suspend the agenda?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to suspend the agenda.
Second.
of that item.
Motion to suspend the
And
agenda.
I'll make that motion then to refer this preliminary concept.
You need to vote on the suspension of the agenda first.
I thought we did that already.
No, you
We
just
had
had a motion and second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to discussion items
No,
with
now,
possible
Steve,
action.
now you
Gotta
can.
make a
Act on
motion.
the,
Now I'll make that motion to refer the preliminary concept review for the Campbell Development at 3700 South Lake Drive to the Planning Commission.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
And I'll make a motion to resume the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mike.
thank you, Mike. Happy Thanksgiving.
Citizens' comments. Deb? Talk next.
Anybody on the list or?
Yes, there is. Hang on. She's speaking right now.
Oh.
Come on up.
We appreciate your time this evening. I'm Dr. Deb Kerr. I'm the interim superintendent at the St. Francis School District, and it's an honor to be here tonight. We wanted to give you a brief update on the construction project. We're very grateful and thankful for your support of a $30.6 million referendum. But we've got Ryan Schmidt from CG Schmidt, we've got Principal Lewandowski from the school district, and Nathan Sheevy from Growth Architects tonight. So the beauty of this plan is that everybody's gonna be touched in this project, and we're in the exciting parts of the design and picking a color palette that is gonna be consistent and standardized across the district. But we want you to know that we're going to fulfill our promises, that we're going to take care of all safety, security, and ADA accessible areas. We're going to innovate the classrooms so that we have 21st century classrooms and that we're preparing our kids for their future, not our past. That's going to look at different furniture solutions, maker spaces, some additions to our innovation lab that we currently have. And so I'm gonna let Ryan Schmidt talk a little bit about the construction phase. We're going through budget right now and putting all the plans together so that we can do a good bid process this next January. So Ryan.
January, the project will go out to bid, and we're looking to start construction in spring break or early this spring and summer, with the major renovation at Willow Creek and Deer Creek happening the summer of '22, and then the following summer focusing on the high school. We really understand that these buildings are gathering centers for the whole community, and our goal is to have no surprises throughout the process. So we want to get the city involved as much as we can. Get you into the buildings, walking through them, walking through with the fire department on a regular basis, just to make sure that there's no surprises and that we have a smooth, successful project.
Nathan, would you like to talk a little bit about the architects and the design phase?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Deb mentioned, and Ryan as well, we're working through our design detail right now. So we've had really good conversations with Mark, Melinda, police representatives, fire representatives, building inspector as well. So we're looking to continue to add detail into the project. We are currently in the midst of our construction document process. So assembling those, as Ryan mentioned, those will be finished in January. So we just finished, let's say, a month's worth. It was kind of spread out, depending on staff availability. This school year is challenging at times, but a really good round of follow-up focus group conversations. So first round of those happened prior to the start of this, or prior to the end of last school year. And then the next round of them concluded recently. So it was really good to connect with staff members, hear what parts of the project were gonna function well for students and staff looking forward. What were maybe a question mark still, and we might have a chance to revise as well. So I'm thinking specifically the collaboration spaces at both Willow Glen and at Deer Creek. We've made some revisions based on principal feedback, based on staff feedback. So I think it's an excellent team that the district has assembled, and we look forward to the projects.
Great.
I know Lou's been with us since the beginning of the process, and I don't know if you want to just say a few things about the listening sessions we've had with the community, the staff, and where you think we are right now.
Yeah, I think the important part for us is that, you know, we heard the community after the first referendum that they wanted to go bigger, they wanted to build and not shrink. So that was the referendum that was brought and passed, and I think we've got some really great plans. There's a lot of excitement around, especially at Willow Glen and Deer Creek. You know, there's gonna be some significant renovations and upgrades to those buildings. And, you know, really in conjunction with what the city wants to do, and I've had conversations with many of the members as well as Mayor Tutai. I think our visions align with where we want to see St. Francis go. I think we're all kind of in the same boat. We're tired of mediocrity. We want to see us start to excel and become the destination on the South Shore. So I feel very confident that we're beginning that direction, and I think this is a really nice first step.
We also are putting in place the instructional programming that will help support all of this moving forward. So we want our parents to come to Willow Glen and not leave us after that. So one decision the board made just last night, we're expanding our 4-year-old kindergarten program to full day, because that's what our parents in St. Francis need. And they have maybe gone to South Milwaukee or Milwaukee Public Schools that have a full day program. So once we get them in, we think we can really keep them, because that's gonna become a showcase school with wonderful outdoor learning spaces. So that's the other piece of this project that's amazing. And I know I'll be talking with Melinda about the MMSD grants and the rainscaping and the rain gardens and the bioswales that will give our kids learning opportunities right on our campus at all 3 buildings, at all 3 sites. So we're very excited about that. Any questions that you might have? Yes, Mark.
Dr. Kerr, or maybe Mike, can you give us any insight into enrollment changes? I know that we've seen probably about 300 single-family homes sell and change hands. Are you seeing the effects of that in the school district? Are you seeing additional kids, new kids coming into the district from from those sales?
So I'm gonna be transparent.
Yes, we have to be.
We have not received a single family
Really?
from those apartments, and I'm
Not the apartments, the single-family homes that have turned over in the city.
We've had some increase, but our overall enrollment has decreased.
Okay.
And, you know, our open enrollment numbers were down this year compared to what we had anticipated. So, we're trying to figure out how to increase our visibility within the surrounding communities to do a better job of open enrollment. And, you know, we are beginning to look at a process of how we can get open enrollment at the younger levels. We are upside down a little bit on our open enrollment, where the majority of our open enrollment comes in at ninth grade. We would like to get those open enrollment students in at K-4, kindergarten, first grade. That way they're in our system, through our systems, and then our report cards and our scores can be representative of what our school district is producing. We're hopeful, that we'll see some more, long-term student enrollment, with some changes and some directional shifts we're making with, how we plan to showcase the district to some surrounding communities.
I think part of the problem you're experiencing is the reason the first referendum failed. We had that artificially reduced level of allowed open enrollments. Those older children have siblings, younger siblings. They're going where the older children went. We've lost opportunity those years we restricted our open enrollment. So as you start building that again, you do get those younger siblings, but unfortunately, you're going to feel that pain for a few years because of the actions that were taken previously.
Yeah, we're down about 60 kids right now, and so that's a significant amount of money of state aid. But our Willow Glen was just recently named a U.S. News and School a report school for performing in the top 25% of the state of Wisconsin. So we're coming out with that
Excellent.
because, yeah, our kids are doing well in reading and math, and we're being recognized for that. And so those are the kinds of things that we need to promote to get our families excited about being in our school district and in our wonderful city of St. Francis, and to recruit more. So one of the reasons we're hoping that this full-day 4-year-old kindergarten, we wanted to push it through now, not wait till next year. We're gonna do it next year, but we'll be able to get some open enrollment alternative applications now, starting in January, which will be very helpful for us.
Very
So
nice.
with that and the new buildings, and the openings of the Willow Glen and Deer Creek next fall, again, creating new schools, new excitement, new life into the school district. So we're really excited about that.
How do you plan on getting the word out about the, renovation efforts and obviously the good news with some of the numbers in the school? Is there a marketing campaign or is there something in the works along those lines?
Yeah, great question. In fact, I met today with our communication experts from C.G. Schmidt. Our tagline was listen, enhance, excel. We're on the enhance section now of the communication plan. So I've worked with the mayor to get the newsletter in January. We'll have a full spread that looks something like this, a letter from the superintendent with pictures and where we are in the process. And then you'll see signage across the community about the new 4K program, because we want those kids and families thinking about it now, because we're going to be doing an open house in January. So we're in the phase 2 of that process right now with communication. So that's a great question. Thank you.
So does that go outside the community too, so that we can start drawing in some people from outside?
Yes, we are going to do a full social media communication, not only within the families here, but within our area of the South Shore.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you so
I
much.
personally like to say thank you to both you and Mike. You guys have been outstanding, reaching out to have partnerships with us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited about the opportunities, and we've got a lot of great things that are happening on our campus. So we can't wait to invite you to our first open house and walkthroughs when we're about ready to do that. So we'll make sure that you're on that list.
I will be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, appreciate your patience. A lot of presentations tonight.
Yes.
And then can we leave
We're all
this
looking
closer?
forward to it.
Yeah.
If you want, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
How you
Yes.
been, Mike? Yeah, thanks.
Put them all on Sean's area.
Just put them right here.
We're going to try to get some more of these up around town. So
If
That's
you need help with
great.
that, let us know.
I will.
Moving on. Consent agenda. Is there any older person that would like anything removed?
Mayor,
I'll
I'll make a
make-
motion to run all the issues on the same agenda for a vote.
Second. Run the issues and, I know what you mean, Don.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Reports of committees, commissions, and boards. None. Recommendation of action from committees, commissions, and boards. Action to be taken from the licensing committee meeting held November 16th, 2021.
Mayor, from licensing, we're looking for a Christmas tree permit for Mega Marts LLC, 4698 South Whitnall Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
And we have a change of agent, looking for change of agent, Mega Marts,
Second.
Christina Albrecht, 4698.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Bless you.
And the sneezes have it.
That's all from licensing, Mayor.
Thank you, Don. Resolutions and ordinances. Resolution to adapt a revised fee schedule for dangerous dog registration fee. Resolution to adopt fee 11221. Mark or Paul, if you want to add on to that?
Sure, this came through the health department. They had a request with respect to registration of a dangerous dog, and we realized at the time that we had not established a fee. We are proposing adoption of the same fee schedule as used by South Milwaukee for the registration purposes.
What constitutes a dangerous dog?
Well, funny you should ask. So
He is a lawyer.
Yeah, to try to keep it. So there are different categories of dogs in the current. It's not a vicious dog, but it's any dog when unprovoked chases or approaches a person or animal in a public or private property in a manner that a reasonable person would conclude to be an apparent attack on such person or animal. So there are exceptions to that. There's also a couple other categories, a dog that has essentially a reputation, and a dog, individual dog with a propensity or tendency to bite, cause injury, or otherwise endanger. Again, there are exceptions, and that's not into the vicious category. There's a whole separate category for vicious. So there is a registration process. There's restrictions on the keeping of the dangerous dog in the city, and again, it's part of that is the registration process that was established when we updated Section 180-5, but we didn't also at that time update the fee schedule to go along with it.
I'll move to introduce and adopt the resolution to adopt a revised fee schedule for the dangerous dog registration fee.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution granting utility distribution easement. Resolution granting utility distribution easement 11221.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution in follow-up to the First Amendment to the ground lease for the cell tower in Milt Fretner Memorial Park. As you'll recall, part of that was during that time, our intrepid city engineer recognized that when they had initially put in the cell tower, they didn't drop the utility easements within the area that was originally granted to them under that original arrangement. And so in the process of working with them to come up with the First Amendment, we also, with Melinda's capable assistance, negotiated a new location for an easement. And so this has now been referred to, and that was in the original First Amendment that the council approved. This is now the request from We Energies to formalize the easement that the city and American Tower have agreed to. And so we are looking for a resolution approving the grant of that easement to them.
I'll make a motion to introduce and adopt.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Resolution to amend the redistricting of awards in the city of St. Francis pursuant to the 2020 Census Resolution to redistrict wards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is yet another resolution.
I wasn't doing it.
This resolution is triggered by notice from the county with respect to changes in the supervisory districts. Triggers a responsibility for our clerks to come up with potential changes in the wards. We have a change to, I believe, wards 2 and 3 in the city. So part of this is the need to adopt a map as part of that process. And so, again, we're looking for approval by the council of this resolution. And I need to acknowledge the capable assistance of both the deputy clerk and city engineer in putting this together. And I will advise the common council that you are way ahead of other communities in Milwaukee County at this point. The county sent out a letter yesterday to all municipal clerks urging them to make sure they adopt something by November 18th, even though they were somewhat later than anticipated in getting the information that was needed to the cities and villages to do that. And so there were a lot of somewhat frantic emails going around today by municipal clerks asking what to do, and the city of St. Francis is already poised to take care of it tonight. So thank you, Melinda and Rebecca.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to redistrict the wards, census resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Ordinance to repeal and recreate Section 52-2 of the City of St. Francis Code of Ordinance concerning aldermanic districts, introduction only, ORD 52-2, alderman districts 11221, Exhibit A.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a follow-up to the one that was, the resolution that was just adopted. That does the wards. This establishes the aldermanic districts for the city and adopts primarily adopts the population data maps, and the ward map and the aldermanic district map as a result of the action that you just took to resolve that. Now, this is a multi-step process, and so by statute, cities need to do this by introducing an ordinance first, and so we're all saying hi to the ordinance this evening. And so then the requested action by the Common Council is to direct the Class 2 publication, which is required of this, and then we can, once that's accomplished, then the council can act to adopt this. And again, we're ahead of the curve on this, but in talking to Mark and the mayor, it was important to them that any alderman that's coming up for election have the benefit of knowing exactly who's in their aldermanic districts when they're looking for nominations and potential votes. So we're looking for, again, the receive, place on file, and to authorize the Class 2 publication that's required.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to introduce and authorize the Class 2.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on, discussion items with possible action. 2022 Environmental Health Consortium, MOU.
We just need approval, right, Mark?
Yes, this is an extension of the Environmental Health Consortium that we have with South Milwaukee and Cudahy with regard to a lot of different things that this position does, but primarily it is looking at ensuring that our communities are safe for food preparation, that people have heat in their homes, that they have running water. So it's really a very important position. The person that currently is providing this is going to be retiring this year, so they're going to be hiring a person to basically shadow Marty for a period of time, who is the current environmental health officer, so that there is going to be a seamless transition, hopefully a very seamless transition between the retirement and the new person that will be taking over. Jackie is here tonight to answer any questions with regard to that, if you have any questions of Jackie.
Any questions for Jackie?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on. 2022 to 2024 agreement for public health services, agreement for St. Francis South Milwaukee Fund Budget 2022. Mark?
This is just an extension of the existing agreement. It adds another 3 years. The existing agreement provides for a 5% increase every year. This extension also provides for a 5% increase every year. So this agreement will really provide a seamless transition of health administration from South Milwaukee and the partnership that we have with South Milwaukee to remain here in St. Francis through 2024.
Also move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Conflict consent letter, Quarles and Brady. St. Francis Conflict Consent Letter.
I received this from Quarles and Brady. Quarles and Brady is the law firm that handles our bond counsel. So anytime we do a borrowing, Quarles and Brady represents the city with regard to bonding. They have been solicited by the Landing Group that is going to be doing the A-Wing to complete an $18 million development to the Landing. And they've been requested by that group to represent them. I indicated that we're not going to be borrowing any money to provide any incentives to that. If any incentives are provided, they would be a pay-as-you-go or pay-go. So I didn't see any conflict of interest in allowing Quarles and Brady to represent that developer and also be our bond counsel.
So does this just need to be placed on file, Mark?
No, you would approve this and it would allow them to represent the development of the Landing A-Wing and still be our bond counsel.
Paul, I'm gonna assume you don't see a conflict of interest either?
Well, there is a conflict, but they're asking that it be waived. So it's, again, it's, you know, the data that they could potentially use against us in any negotiation for the Landing is already public record, so any other law firm could get it anyway. As I explained to Mark, the potential is, you know, is really somewhat ethereal. It's more along the lines of, would the city having an adverse relationship potentially in this, would it affect your relationship with them in the future? Mark believes that that's not the case. I don't think this guy's gonna fall if you grant the requested waiver.
Is there any concern that, you know, if at some point in the future we do identify a conflict, that we could perhaps lose Quarles and Brady's representation somehow? Because I think that, to me, like, reading this, it wasn't so much a concern that, you know, like, if we waive the conflict, fine, but if at any point in the future, I'd hate to lose them as a, you know, as legal representation if something comes up in the future.
This is a one shot for this particular development. It's not ongoing as far as any waiver. So, I mean, again, it is limited to this, so it's not like you could essentially change your mind in the future as to the waiver if it's granted tonight. You know, I think that worst case scenario is that if you know, somehow decided that this soured your relationship with Quarles, that you'd be looking for different bond counsel in the future. But I think they've obviously factored that in, and they don't see it as a problem, and Mark didn't see it as a problem. So, again, I think the chances of something, you know, going horribly wrong in this are probably pretty slim. So I don't have any real concern that if you grant it tonight, that you're going to regret it in the future. Is it possible? Yeah, but is it likely? I don't think so.
Mayor? It may actually help our negotiations because they understand the city. So it may actually improve the negotiations of a development agreement with the developer if Quarles and Brady is representing them. Again, I would recommend approving the conflict of interest letter because I personally don't see that Quarles and Brady is going to have any information other than what's already public record that they could use against us.
I'll move to approve the conflict concept letter.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Rescheduling of regular December 21st, 2021 Common Council meeting to December 14th, 2021 at 7 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Employee Group Medical Coverage Plan 2022, WEA Trust Essential PPO.
So we actually placed this on the agenda within our 24-hour limit. USI, Scott Fuller is here tonight. He represents us in negotiations with the healthcare providers. As you're aware, in the budget, I indicated that our healthcare plan was requesting a 22.5% increase. Scott has done a great job in working with a bidding process. He got a number of different bids and then negotiated with those providers to even sharpen their pencil some more to get the best bid down to 9.76%, I think which is our existing provider, but a slightly different plan. And Scott is here to or fill you in or give you an update on any plan changes from the existing plan that have been negotiated. Yep.
Thank you.
So on the document that you have in front of you, if you look to the third column from the right, where it says WEA Trust, Essential PPO, and down at the very bottom, it says 11.74% increase. As Mark had indicated, we've had several good years where increases have been 5% or under. We've had a run of not so good experience. The last couple of years, the loss ratio has been over 100%, hence the reason for the initial increase. Went to market, went to every carrier that was available in southeastern Wisconsin, even took a look at the ETF plan, the state plan, and ultimately came back and narrowed it down to United Healthcare and WEA Trust. At the end of the day, Mark and I agreed that the plan, again, the third from the right, would be the best option for the city and its valued staff. So there are a few changes to plan design. The items you see in green are enhancement to the plan design. The items you see in yellow are, I guess, takeaways from the plan currently. So if you go down, the first thing is the out-of-pocket expenses, that the maximum out-of-pocket for medical care. When I say medical care, specifically excluding pharmacy, would be reduced from the current $6,850 for single and $13,700 for family to $5,350 for single and $10,700 for family. So that is an enhancement to the plan, okay? If you go down to where it says primary care and specialist care office visits, this plan would increase office visits from $30 for primary care to $50, and for specialists from $60 to $100. So that would be a negative or a takeaway. The next item, urgent care and emergency room. Urgent care would remain the same at $100 copay. Emergency room would go up from its current $350 to $500. The next column is where the biggest change is, and that is in prescription drugs. So we're gonna have a separate out-of-pocket maximum for prescription drug copays, which actually, this section is actually part green, part yellow. So that is an actual enhancement to the plan. So limits in terms of what you could spend for prescription drugs is lowered, but the amount you pay on a copay basis is higher. In addition to that, we are gonna separate it. We get a premium discount by separating what are called preferred pharmacies for non-preferred pharmacies. So basically, the non-preferred pharmacies are gonna be Walgreens and CVS. So if you go to them, you're gonna pay a higher copay because the costs associated with going there are higher, okay? Mark, do you want me to talk about NICE?
Please.
So in addition to that, included in these costs, we're we want to introduce a concept that has been very successful, especially in public sector entities. It's called Nice Healthcare. It's a virtual on-site clinic. All staff and their family members that are under age 65, non-Medicare eligible, will have access to the service at no cost to them. 70% of all interactions are started via a virtual visit, and then the care goes from there based upon what the member actually needs. So oftentimes, you have a child that sprains their ankle playing soccer, and they need an X-ray. Well, in this scenario, they would have a virtual visit with a nurse practitioner or physician's assistant, and if there's a need for an X-ray, lab work, throat culture, something of that sort, they would actually come to the individual's home, take the X-ray, draw the labs, take the throat culture, whatever needs to be done in person, okay? Again, that's paid for. The reason WEA Trust reduced their income if we added this, so in essence, it's costing the city nothing to add it, and it costs employees nothing to use it. So they can go as much as they want throughout the course of the year, and there's no cost to them. Okay? That's a high-level overview. There's much more.
And I think
associated
NICE
with
also has a quandary of 550 drugs that are covered at no cost,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, so there are about 100 acute care drugs and about 450 chronic condition drugs, things like thyroid treatment, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, et cetera, that people can access at no cost. So the fact that we're increasing the cost of prescription drugs under the health plan, some of that is mitigated by having NICE available to their staff and their families.
So the goal with NICE is that I think you indicated that there's a 2-to-1 savings. So yes, there's a slight cost. There's no cost. It's provided. WE Trust is providing it in their rates, but the benefit to WE Trust, the benefit to the city is as people use it, there's about a 2-to-1 benefit on the use of NICE.
Right, so it's all based on utilization, so the average utilization is about 15% on a monthly basis. If we achieve that, if you were paying for it, we would see a 2-to-1 return on investment would be the expectation based on that. For you, because it's really being paid through WA Trust, it's sort of an infinite return on investment. But we do want to get utilization up. The net promoter score, or the satisfaction rate associated with people that actually use it, is off the charts. It's in the 90th percentile. So we're very excited about it.
So you said that NICE there was no charge for that NICE?
So there's if WEA was not paying for it, it would be a $30 per employee per month charge, so about $21,240 annually based on your current enrollment. That's being absorbed by WEA because they believe that will take spend out of their risk, so they're willing to give you a better cost for that. Does that make sense?
So, and I'm just looking down at the bottom there, the total annual premium cost there, with the program is 11%, 11.74%, without it is 9.76%?
Yes, sort of, except the 9.76% is with them reducing their actual renewal by 2%, right? So the actual renewal was 11, it technically was 12, but when we take that 2% off to cover the cost of it, that lowers your premium, but somebody still has to pay NICE, which the city would pay directly. Does that make sense? So it's an offset.
So this is 11% cost
No,
increase, or?
it's actually the effect of the budget is 9.76%.
The WEA Trust is paying the 2%. It's not being paid by the city or the employees.
WE Trust bid 11.74%, and if we include NICE Healthcare in, they're willing to reduce that to 9.76%.
And I think the reason they do that is them coming to your house to do an X-ray, them coming to you to do a visit. You don't pay the overhead costs of the urgent care. You don't pay those physicians. It reduces their costs, which saves them money in the end, and you're still getting the care you need.
And as
It
far as that
actually-
quality of care though, is that, I mean, what, you know, I don't know, I know my doctor's not gonna be making a house visit, you know, I mean.
Yeah, so they're not MDs, they're nurse practitioners and physician assistants, which
Okay.
are all licensed, credentialed professionals in the state of Wisconsin, and there are no concerns around quality of care. They're considered mid-level providers, and they're under the supervision of an MD.
Quite honestly, when you come to the VA, you're going to see a PA or an MP or a resident. It's the same thing in most hospitals now. You're seeing nurse practitioners and PAs, and some of them I'd rather see than some of the doctors I've worked with, to be blunt. They're very talented, and they're very good at what they
Yeah,
do.
my wife did something like this at it was an on-site clinic for a company. She did that for a few years as a physician assistant. And, you know, so I think I'm kind of familiar with the model, but it makes sense to, it can really reduce costs because you're not paying like a hospital group or all the overhead there. They essentially are hiring someone directly.
So we do work with a lot of on-site clinics. This actually allows smaller employers that don't have the scale to spread the cost of an on-site clinic throughout the population, to be able to bring that to your staff as an alternative to the traditional healthcare model.
Interesting.
Any further discussion?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so all the programs that are available today under WEA will stay there. This will be in addition to that. And, you know, the hours aren't 24/7 with NICE, they're actually extended hours, and I think they're 8 AM to 7 PM, and then weekends 9 to noon. So it's an edge. Yeah. Correct. It's Maddie Plus, if you will. In addition, I should mention this because it's really important with what's transpired over the last 18 months with COVID and the need for behavioral health services. There is virtual physical therapy, live physical therapy that is available at no cost through NICE, along with behavioral health. So it's a relatively broad-based suite of services that people can tap into. Is, again, no cost.
So,
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt.
I just had one more question, if that's okay. I'm just looking at the column all the way to the right, the United Healthcare Plan. It's about 0.5% over the WAA Trust Plan, but it doesn't make as many changes to the prescription drug policy. Was that considered, and, you know, if so, was it ruled out because of the extra costs there? You know, I guess we should talk through that a little bit.
So it was a very close second. There were a couple of things that came into place. Number one, disruption. Whenever you move carriers, you're going to have provider disruption. UHC has the largest network in the country, and we weren't overly concerned with that, but you're going to get some of that, right? And you're also going to get some disruption in what's in the formulary pharmacy. A drug may be in one tier on WEA, and it will go to a different tier with UHC. The bigger thing was they would not provide us Medicare rates. So the post-65 retirees, you'll see there's
I
a
see.
reduction to their rate. That actually is what brings their cost up. They were technically a little bit lower if we took retirees out of there, but we obviously can't do that because they're a part of it. So there were a multitude of reasons they came in close second. And I think change was the biggest issue.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I was just trying to balance change to the prescription drug plan versus change to the carrier itself. And, but you're right, it could go between tiers for different medications. All right, I'll make a motion then to approve.
I already did.
Sounds good.
Oh, you already did?
Need a
Okay.
second.
Yeah, I'll second that then. I didn't know if you got the whole thing out, Sean.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appointments to committees, commissions, and boards? None. Correspondence with possible action or referral? None. Unfinished business? None. Other business? None. Department heads? Jackie? If you had anything, I don't want to put you in the spot.
Good evening. Health Department is plugging along. We're starting to do vaccinations for the 5 to 11-year-olds. Tomorrow we'll be at Deer Creek. We haven't had the uptake that we were hoping for in the 5 to 11-year-olds, but we're after we do these initial school clinics, we'll probably see them in the office on our Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays and Fridays in the office, we offer the variety of COVID vaccines and boosters, and then also flu vaccines and high-dose flu vaccine for the older adult. So if you haven't had any of those vaccinations, come and see us. We'd like to see you. We're monitoring the situation. We think Pfizer is going to be going to the FDA for approval for 6 months through 4 years of age. Early January is what we've been told that they'll be submitting their data. So once that occurs, we'll be starting with that age group in clinics at the health department. We have heard that many healthcare systems are struggling with staffing and having difficulties with providing vaccination clinics for their patients. So we've been getting a lot of people coming to us for that. Pharmacies are also struggling. There's been a number of large pharmacies that have lost pharmacists, mass exodus, whether it's retirement or just burnout. And so many of the pharmacies have gone to appointment-based clinics, and we're getting a lot of feedback at our health department that they've been told 3 weeks to get an appointment for a vaccination. So we are picking up those extra people that would normally go to their doctor or go to a pharmacy for that service. We're hoping to try and get, I feel like a broken record, we're hoping to get back to public health programming in early 2022, but we're monitoring closely what's happening in the world with countries that have high vaccination rates and have been increasing in cases. So as this is a worldwide experiment in how we're managing this pandemic, we learn something new all the time. We just continue on to do response as what's recommended by WHO, CDC, and the State Department of Health. So that's pretty much what we have. Any questions for me?
Nope, thank you.
I'll pass.
Right behind you, if Amy's got anything to say.
Thank you, Jackie.
Hello.
Thank you, Jackie.
I just wanted to take a minute to thank Rebecca and the rest of the City Hall staff for helping us get our community survey in the last utility bill. Our goal was to try and get non-library users to provide us feedback with what they're looking for in the library. I'm not sure that part was very successful, but we did get some feedback that will help with our next strategic plan. And of course, we got a much bigger response than we would have if we had just done it in-house. So thanks for helping out with that. And I think that's it.
Thank you. It's yours.
I'll go next. The road project over in the 2nd District is done. I think it looks pretty good. We're right now working on finalizing, getting final quantities put together, doing some punch list items. Some people have some concerns still, so we're addressing those. Hunter, our engineer, did a phenomenal job, basically managed that all on his own. And it was just great to have him here and be able to rely on him to do that. We are still looking for our third spot in the engineering department, our technician's position. So it's great to have Hunter and all his experience there. He did a really, really good job with it. DPW Highway Department is still working on leaf collection. Last day to put leaves in the gutter is November 28th, when we will sweep the city after that, a couple times. But if anybody has leaves after that, they should really bring them to the recycle center. And then we are transitioning to manage the ugly word snow. We're getting our shelters ready, all our equipment ready. We'll be putting up snow fence, and then we also start some of our tree removal and tree trimming program over the winter. So, and with that, I pass.
Thank you. Chief Poplar?
Real brief, our application period closed last Friday. The 4 communities, part of our hiring consortium, received 99 applications for about 25 vacancies between the 4. So moving on to background checks, certification checks, and after the new year, going to panel interviews and be hiring for spring. And with that, I pass.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Hunter?
Thank you, Mayor. Speaking of hiring, we held our our interview process last week for a police officer. It's extremely, as you all are probably aware, it's extremely competitive, extremely hard to get quality applicants these days. That being said, we had a terrific group come through. They chose the top 3. That was my command staff, along with 3 sergeants. And this morning, myself, along with 2 members of the PFC, Tom Kopchitsky and Sandy Jaskolski, held the chief's interview with the top 3 candidates. They were all extremely, I think he would attest to it, extremely capable. Any one of them would be a great addition to the city. That said, I did call and give a conditional offer to a local St. Francis gentleman who is currently going through the academy. He graduates December 18th. Born and raised in St. Francis, lived on Waterford his entire life with his family. Went to the high school, was a captain of the football team, top-notch kid, and just a great guy. We had to move quickly because all 3 are being recruited extremely heavily by other agencies. The one I'm speaking of now, again, it's conditional offer. Doesn't mean anything until he raises his hand. That said, there's another agency was pulling extremely hard at him until I made that phone call to him today and persuaded him a little bit, and he accepted the accepted the job. So again, it's a conditional offer, and I think the city will definitely benefit from him being here. Also, tomorrow I have a McClea meeting. Tomorrow will be my last day as Secretary Treasurer. Thank you so much. I cannot wait for this to be over. I was nominated, as you all know, and I'm kind of blindsided by it, but every day in that position you have to touch something, whether it's make a phone call or do something with it. And tomorrow the nomination process will move forward, and there will be a new Secretary Treasurer, and I'll be moving up to Vice President of McClea tomorrow. And lastly, I just wanted to thank Melinda and Fred, our doghouse that was donated to us by the school that's sitting outside here. It was kind of unfinished on the inside, and it was a little rushed, I think. And I don't want to knock the kids because they did a terrific job, and it's a great addition. But they came up with the idea of kind of finishing it off a little bit, and if you guys take a walk past it, you'll see what I mean. We took a picture of Riggs that we took the day of when he was sitting inside the dog kennel there, and actually superimposed Riggs, and Riggs is now sitting inside the kennel. We had put a $1 dog inside the kennel, and some child must have thought it was a free takeaway, so that dog is gone. And if Riggs disappears, it's only a piece of paper, and we can replace that piece of paper. So, and this Riggs does not bite, by the way, so if you want to pet him, you can. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, Chief. Rebecca?
Anne is back as of Monday, so this will be my last meeting. I think this is the fourth one in a row I took, so I want to thank everybody for being patient as I'm still obviously learning a whole lot about clerk treasurer duties. So I appreciate everybody's patience. Thank you.
I personally want to say thank you. I've witnessed you here the last month or so. Outstanding, thank you. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you've probably all heard enough from me this evening, but I would be neglecting my duties if I didn't mention that not only did Rebecca and Melinda work on the resolution, they also were instrumental in getting the ordinance for the aldermanic districts done so that you could have them before you this evening. So my thanks to both of them. And with that, other than that, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I pass.
Thank you. We're skipping Mark. Hey, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor. Please don't forget that we have a November 30th meeting, special meeting, which is a public hearing for the budget, and there may be a minor or two other things on the agenda, but it's at the same time, 7 o'clock on the 30th. It is a special meeting. We have received our preliminary assessed value numbers from the state of Wisconsin. They are slightly higher than what we'd anticipated. They're about $40 million higher than last year, so we're up to $744 million for total assessed value. So that's good news for the budget. It's good news for how the calculations are determined in determining that mill rate. So we should get the information to you on the 30th on a preliminary mill rate for that November 30th date.
Thanks. Debbie?
Just to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Sarah?
Same thing. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you. 30 seconds, Sean?
As well, happy Thanksgiving. Jackie, wish you well with your staff, and hopefully what's happening in Europe doesn't transpire here, but we're seeing good things right now, and let's keep that trend moving forward. Linda, thank you to you and your team. Chiefs, congrats on having applicants. It's always an exciting time. And to the rest of you, stay well. Be prepared for those first snows. It's always interesting. Oh, I do have one thing. Last month, I promised our crossing guards I would meet them on Veterans Day. I went out with coffee with each of them and spent a little bit of time with them. Sometimes it's a thankless job. You should see what they endure out there with some of our parents. Some of our parents are questionable drivers. Over here at Willow Glen, they run that stop sign, unless the officer's there. When the officer's there, they are well behaved. But Kenny Kinnick and Howard, I spent about 10 minutes with him there, and there were 5 red light runs in the 10 minutes I was there. It's pretty staggering what people are doing at that time of day, and we entrust these people with our children, and they do an amazing job because they do keep them safe. So I just wanted to recognize them one more time, and and your officer got coffee as well. That was undercover that day. So on that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Steve?
Just wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. That's all, sir.
Thank you. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving as well, and with that, I'll pass.
Don?
Me also, just want to say, wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Jackie, I'll see you Friday. From a
Booster shot? Can I come too? I'm due for mine.
And with that, I pass.
Thank you. I also like to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I need to apologize to Rebecca and Melinda. You guys did an emergency job getting everything redistricted. An amount of time that should have been 3 times that amount to do the work you guys did. So thank you very, very much for getting that done.
Nice.
Everyone on your team did awesome. Thank you.
Make sure you tell them we said thank you.
Yeah. They look great.
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, mayor's report. All in favor?
You could give it afterwards.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, we are adjourned.